All right, crypto versus stocks. Which one do you think is better? That's the eternal question. What if you can get the best of both worlds, right? Crypto stocks. There's been a lot of these crypto stocks lately, and they're doing well. So we're going to devote this episode into looking at some of these crypto stocks, right? You have Circle, which is the stablecoin stock that's gone up, USDC, it's gone up like 6-7x straight out of the gate, no pullback. You have Coinbase, which is just touching a new all-time high here. And you also have a number of these crypto treasury stocks, such as MicroStrategy, SBET, that's the Ethereum one. We're going to talk about a bunch of them today. And now even China has joined on the action. China has allowed one of the stockbrokers to start buying Bitcoin. Very action-packed episode today. Let's get straight into it. With Bitcoin today, basically, so I said in my last video that I think we might dance along around this trend line because this was the rising wedge. Well, this is the triangle from which we broke out of. But look at this. I want to show you guys something, right? Bitcoin has bounced from 91.8. My call was for mid-90s. We came very close. Almost got to 97. And now it's what? Like hit 106.7. After like a 9K move, 8.5, 9K move, the funding rate is still very green. Still very green. So people are still shorting. Some black, some green. I would say it's more like 60% green, 40% black, right? With very few reds. So in that case, I would say the odds of a little bit more push up, right? I do think we get stopped at this 109K area. We might wick slightly above, but essentially the body of the candle should close under 109.1 next couple of days. And then we keep going like this with a chance to go below 100K again. Don't know if we're going to be lucky enough to hit my target of mid-90s, but I think high 90s is still quite likely. So 109, I think that's where it heads to next, and then 99, 89, retest 100. And eventually, as folks know, I've just been saying that, look, basically we're just inside a blow off top, right? So pull back. This is a bull flag, and up we go. Okay, so now let's get to some of those crypto stocks. First, let's do one that everyone's familiar with, Circle. And here's the thing about Circle. It has, look at this. It launched at what? I'm pretty sure it didn't start at $69. But if it did, that's still a 5x move, close to 5x move. Started, well, the market cap was only like a few billion. The market cap of, it was only like, I remember Circle made a much bigger move than that, but still 6x move, still pretty good. Market cap, I remember it started off around like 4 or 5 billion, or some amazingly small number like that. And we're going to look at a bunch of these crypto stocks today, because I mean, look how bullish they are. Look how bullish they are. But before we get on to that, first let's answer the question of which crypto exchange does Pablo use? Well, Pablo uses exchange that's non-KYC. That means you don't need to show any ID. That means anyone can join. Of course, Americans can join, and then the exchange can't even see who you are, right? So that's why I made this deal with them, because the IRS can't see you, the tax office can't see you, FBI, CIA, nobody can see you. So in this deal I made with them, just by depositing, get a 20% bonus. Deposit $100, get 20 USDT futures bonus to trade. Deposit $1,000 and get 200 USDT futures bonus, right? Chance to win a MacBook Pro, iPhone 16, Apple Watch, right? All these great, wonderful prizes. And for folks in the top 20 of not the whole exchange, but just my competition, the Pablo competition, there's still a chance to win a prize. Okay, so this is limited time only, ends on 11th of July. And if you're watching on YouTube, then the link is in the description below. The link is in the description below. But if you're watching on any other platform, such as YouTube, that's okay. Such as TikTok or Twitter, that's okay. Just basically go to my profile page and just click on the my profile page, and we click on the the Stan link right there, and boom, it should be the first deal that comes up because this is a great deal. Okay, let's get back to the markets. And remember, folks, only on the Pablo Heman link. So Circle, the idea behind Circle is basically this, that it basically takes your money, it converts it into USDC, like USDT does the same thing, but what it does then is it deposits that money into US Treasury bills. US Treasury bills, and then basically it then just collects interest from that. So how much did it make last time? Earnings was like, look at this, 1 quarter. The earnings of 1 quarter is like 33 cents, and they pump it to $300. So what was the earnings? Does it show here? Price to earnings ratio, right? Doesn't even show that. But look, in 1 quarter, right, it actually made 33 cents. So in 1 year, it makes about $1.20. But its market cap hit $300. Like I say, there's no logic behind it. It's just crazy because this is the only way Wall Street feels that they can get exposure to the whole crypto phenomenon, other than buy MicroStrategy or buy into IBIT. IBIT is the ETF from BlackRock on Bitcoin. Other than buying those things, they think this is the only way they can catch the phenomenon in stablecoins. And it's probably kind of true as well. What else can you buy to catch the rising stablecoins, which could be a huge narrative, right? I mean, I'm not saying to get into this one or not. I mean, this is obviously way too late, it seems. It's already had a massive run, unless Circle ends up really taking over the world of stablecoins, which could happen, but I'm not betting on that. So another one is Coinbase. Coinbase is something that I've spoken about, made videos about this, spoke to my Discord about it, like 2 years ago. I was calling for it around $80. I was saying that at $80 around this area, that I think around this area actually, that it could 80 or 70 area, that it could actually get to something like 200, something like 210, 220 because of these resistance areas. Didn't call for this target of an all-time high, but since we're in a bull market, right, Bitcoin's creating these new all-time highs, so then hitting a new all-time high for Coinbase is completely possible. But what I want to show folks is this, that the entire big Coinbase chart is actually just one giant head and shoulders, inverse head and shoulders, you could call it. Here it's shoulder, head, shoulder, right? So using standard head and shoulders theory, we take the low here, $31, to the high here, which is $363. So $332 is the distance, and we project the breakout here. This is the highest closing history, highest daily, weekly close, daily closing history. So kind of at an all-time high already. So basically, we add another 332 to this breakout point, then that would give us 679. So it would be something like this. 679. Gee, looks pretty crazy, huh? We might as well do a Fibonacci on this as well. Okay, let's go start from here. 679. Okay, yeah, that makes sense. 1.618 of the Fib extension is at 659, so mine at 679, roughly in the same ballpark. Let's call it 660. Let's call it the 660 area target for 660 area. Let's call it, yeah, for Coinbase. Okay, so now let's have a look at some more even crazier crypto stocks. Which ones we are with? Okay, I've made a whole list of them. Let's have a look at some of these bad boys. Some of them I've spoken about. For example, such as Vanna Coffee. I've spoken about this one. This is a tiny little coffee chain in Spain, I think. And look, it's basically crashed from like $34 all the way down, because I've spoken about it in my video from last week. I wouldn't talk too much more about it, but their whole shtick is that they're trying to raise $1 billion to buy Bitcoin, and they don't have to raise $1 billion. They if they can even just raise 100 million, then I mean, right now their market cap is tiny, is like 11 million euros, so about 13.5 million US dollars. Then it could go up a lot. So another one is, for example, this HOG something. It's actually called the H100 group. That's they're in Norway, I think, from memory, or Sweden. They're a Swedish company, but they're also listed on the US over-the-counter market under the label HOGPF. They're a little bit hard to find because they're so small, most of them. But if you can find them, I mean, it's no different from hunting down shit coins and meme coins and tiny little coins on Radium or on some, on some obscure Solana exchange. So I'm going to talk about why these coins are taking off. What is the theory behind them? This, by the way, blockchain group. I mean, look at the explosive runs some of these coins can have. It's gone from like 6 cents all the way to $6. It's been a 100x run since when? Since like it really only started taking off around August. So since August, it's been less than a year. But the really big run started around here from 30 cents. So that's a 20x run. When was this? December. And keep in mind, this happened whilst Bitcoin was tanking. Right, it tanked as well from this 60 cents down to bottomed here. Bottomed at 27 cents, so like a 55% drop. Bottomed in February, wow. When Bitcoin was crashing in April, remember the Bitcoin bottom was April 7th? It was actually, well, it went to 34 cents, and it actually, right, went straight up. So yeah, that goes to show you how crazily strong some of these coins are. So the theory behind them, the way it works is like this. They would either borrow money, use debt. There's only two ways you can get money to buy Bitcoin. MicroStrategy uses their own profits, but they don't make a lot of profits. Most of these companies are desperate and going broke. Right, that's what MicroStrategy is. It's essentially desperate and going broke. So what they do is forget about profits. Like Metaplanet doesn't have much profit. They either borrow money or they actually sell more shares, issue more shares. And most people are like, oh, we don't want them to issue more shares because if they do, then it dilutes the shareholdings, which is true. But the way they've invented this logic, which kind of makes sense, in a bull market it makes sense, but in a bear market it's going to absolutely crash everything. They say that if you might have issued more shares, but if you use that money to buy Bitcoin, and if you're now holding more Bitcoin per share, that ratio they look at is Bitcoin per share. How many Bitcoins do you hold? You divide that number by the number of shares you have. If that number increases, then it doesn't matter how much shares you have. The value of that stock, of that share, goes up. That's their logic. I'm not going to comment on that. All I'm going to say is that logic makes sense in a bull market. In a bear market, it's going to absolutely massacre and slaughter and murder the people who are holding these stocks. But in a bull market, that logic works. Okay, so that's why we're seeing these crazy runs, but it's not always so rosy. So for example, let me show you guys. This is UpXI. So basically this one, if we look at this one, it's one of the Solana stocks, Solana treasuries I was talking about, a company that only buys Solana, and they've had this crash, right? Another one is this SBET. I haven't spoken about it in a video or anything before, but look, it's also had this crash. I spoke about it 2 days ago after the crash. After the crash, I made a video about it like 2 days ago, so I wouldn't repeat the logic here. Since it's had the 97, it's had some bad news because it released the S3 form, and the market suspects one of the founders has sold. Even if that's true, it's still down 95% 95%, 93%. So might be worth looking at. I took a small position. DFDV, for example, is another Solana one. And from memory, I spoke about it like around here, I think. And it's had a 4 or 5x run since I've spoken about it, and then came back down, and now it's still up compared to where I was talking about it. So for example, let me just go through some of these. This one is called Green Minerals, and I think that's another Norwegian mining related stock, right? That's trying to raise $1 billion to buy treasury, to become a Bitcoin treasury. Okay, maybe folks can only see it better if I lift it, if I move the screen a little. So here, can we see this better now? Yeah, we can. So for example, STSU, Standard Supply, from Oslo, I think that's Norway as well. Another Bitcoin stock, a Bitcoin treasury stock, and it has only just popped from the bottom. So you can see that the bottom was around 21. It's still at around 40. So it's only made a 2x move, right? Coming off the bottom. Oh, okay. You guys are going to love this one. EATBF. EATBF, it's called. EATBF is actually a treasury for XRP. Like, you know how MicroStrategy holds Bitcoin? SBET holds Ethereum. Well, EATBF, that's what it's called, Digital Asset Technologies, holds XRP. This is could be a cult stock for XRP crazy guys. It could happen. This one's Metaplanet. DN3 is Metaplanet. Oh, NA is Binance. It actually holds BNB coins, and you can see insiders bought it at $3. It was already up 4x before they announced it, and then had a 3x pop from $11 up to $31, and then came right down. So extremely risky. These are just like shit coins. Oh, 1788. 1788 is Guotai Junan, which is a Chinese brokerage stock that had started to offer Bitcoin and Ethereum to its Hong Kong clients, not China clients, but Hong Kong clients. So this is the only stock in all of China that kind of has even anything to do with crypto. So it's had this big jump. Still kind of small at $3 billion US market cap. It's a well-known broker. I've spoken a lot about it in my Discord today. Just letting you guys know, these are some of the choices that that we're looking at, and it's a very crazy game. It's almost like trading meme coins with these kind of crypto stocks. Okay, thank you for your time, guys. Catch you next episode.